evening. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most honored guests. We have quite the meeting tonight. Our Toastmaster is on our way. I'd like to welcome everyone here, and I'd like to start off by saying our vision statement, although we don't have agendas yet. So we are supporting success by building confidence.
We change lives.
We also do now have our mission statement on our agendas as well, the Toastmasters International mission statement. And I would like to introduce our guests. We have Eric. Welcome back.
Hi, Eric.
What brings you in with us tonight?
What's that?
What brings you here with us tonight?
Just decided to come along.
It's our regular date
It's
night.
a date night. Yeah.
Is Eric with a C or with a K?
Enjoy, but you don't know what you're signing up for.
See?
He's
looking for a date.
Okay, it's American word.
Nice. Well, welcome back.
My son is with a K.
And we also have Jeannie.
Yes.
Jeannie, will you please tell us what
Jeannie.
brings you with us tonight?
I'm here, I'm Amanda's mother, and I am here visiting, and I just flew in today, and she said, am I giving a speech? And I said, I'd love to hear it, so that's why
All
I'm
right.
here.
And I know we don't have name tags for you just yet, your numbers now, so we're good. And then we have,
Hi,
what's your name?
Teresa.
Hi Teresa, welcome back.
Yeah.
What brings you back with us tonight?
What brings me here tonight is just being able to be comfortable in speaking when my higher management is around. A lot of people here are going through the same, so I'm not the only one. Thank God. But that's what brings me here, to be able to.
Welcome back. I cannot see that far next to Kevin. Welcome. Tell us your name.
I'm just here as a guest tonight. I used to belong to this club.
Oh, okay.
Now I belong to another one, and I just thought I'd come back and say hi.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I know that Evelyn would like to say a few words. Evelyn, come on.
So everybody, I just wanted to have Steve come up here for just a minute, if you would. So as a party, again, Steve did a wonderful job giving out awards to people for their service, for everything that they've done. And Steve, as president, has always been much more prepared, and so he had a party, but I was a little bit late. So I just wanted to let everybody know, Steve, I worked with Steve really hard for the last year. And he always has the club and each individual member in his heart. And he's always thinking about, what can I do to make things better? And it's just incredible. I'm sure that you feel it to some extent when you're here, but to work with him and hear him just say, okay, what can we do? And he's always thinking out of the box. And so I just wanted to present you with the award.
Oh my God.
Everything you did for me, but everything you did for
Oh my
everyone.
God.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I want to tell you all, how many of you, now there's a few of you that don't know Evelyn. For those of you that don't know Evelyn, Evelyn is really a force, a very quiet force that pushes all of us very, very quietly behind the scenes. She's the last one that's going to get up here and speak and take it on, but when she does, she owns it. How many of you remember the club contest that she facilitated? Right? Fantastic. We had a fantastic DPE. Evelyn, thank you so much for always being there to fight through with me and plan and make sure that everything is tight. Thank you for keeping me in line. Because there were a few times where I could have just gone sideways. I could not do any of this without you. And thank
As a
you.
team effort.
Thank you so much. And on that note, there is one bit of recognition I would like to share, if I may,
Yes,
Madam
you may.
President. One quick thing, we had a very, it was an honor, and it has been an honor to have this person serving both on our board and also in our club. He was recognized as our Outstanding Toastmaster of the Year, and Evelyn and the board and I felt it fitting that we should honor Mr. Don Ratliff with an award. Don, would you come and Congratulations and thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you, guys.
you got that? Yeah.
Please note that both rewards came out of the box.
Thank you. Appreciate all you did. Thank you very much, Don. On that note, I want to thank you all very much, and I want to officially, as I stand here at this podium and relinquish it, I want to welcome you to President again, Miss Kelly Jenkins. Yeah. Madam President, take it away, and thank you so much.
All right, we have a first toast tip of the evening from Tracy Franklin. You want to come on up and get started toasting?
All right, my first time, guys.
Yeah! Alright.
We often get it twisted. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you do, you will be successful.
Alright.
Awesome. Do we have any, I mean, now that we're all new board and everything, anybody have any news? Kevin, Tracy, I can't see you. There we go. Evelyn, Hobie, Viraj is here. Yes.
That's new.
Steve, I know. All right, excellent. With that in mind, I'd like to give control over to our Toastmaster this evening, Miss Tracy Wang.
Thank you, Kelly. First, I want to apologize as a first timer. I forgot to bring the agenda. So instead of having it in a paper, I'll try to go through and check with the people who have signed up. And the first function is GE. Fronona, and the premier is from Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Kevin.
I am Mr. Marion.
Oh.
What's the matter? You act like you've never seen me before, Tracy. Don't treat me that way.
You look much younger.
The timer is from Matt.
Yep.
And our counter from Kate. Perfect.
Point of order, Madam GE, would you invite our functionaries to tell the club a little bit about what they're doing tonight? Oh, I'm so sorry, just kidding,
At
thank
first,
you.
I want to confirm
Love it.
papers. And for ballot counter is from Kate? Tom. Okay, from Tom. So today, so we have two speakers. First is from Amanda. Second is from Steve. Very few acres. The first is from Kate, and the second is from Hobie, and also for Joke. So we have Barry.
Yay!
Sounds great. And for table topics, so we have Melissa. Okay. And so today's theme, I choose the theme to be find your way. I'll share something about myself. The first time I decided to join the Toastmaster is to use the chance to practice speaking. I used to be so nervous and so anxious when something happened. Just as for today, I got so late from work and I totally forgot at PM I should print agendas. So I put myself into a hot spot and I feel so nervous now. However, having joined the club for almost 2 years, even I'm so nervous, I'm so anxious, I'm so uncomfortable, I can still say what I want to say. I'll say it's the reason for me to come here every Thursday night. Thank you. And so now it's a time for each of the functionaries to introduce the role. Our first functionary is from GE, which is Nona.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. My name is Lana Barrett, and I am your GE tonight. Purpose of my role is to conduct the evaluation portion of the meeting and introduce our functionaries. We have a fabulous functionary team tonight, as Tracy's already told you about. We have first functionary up, Mr. Kevin. Can you stand up and tell us what your role is and what you're going to be doing for us?
I'm the grammarian tonight. Our word of the night is perplexed. It's unable to understand something clearly or think clearly. So think of it like this: even though life might have you perplexed, a smile never costs anything. Okay, I'm going to be looking for misuses of language, but more importantly, I'm going to be looking for creative phrases that you may say when you're discussing your speeches or when you're evaluating. And I'm going to also be looking for the people who use the word of the day. So don't forget, even if you are perplexed, to use the word of the day.
And our functionary this evening for the timer role is Matthew. Matthew, can you stand up and tell us what you're going to be doing?
Yes. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm going to be your timer and I think vote counter maybe tonight also. So I'm going to be keeping track. We don't have the actual timer, so I'm going to be using these cards. And I just need to know how long the speeches are. If it's 5 to 7 minutes, this goes up at 5 minutes. If it is at 6 minutes, I'll put this up. And when it's red, that means you need to wrap it up. So at 7 minutes or whatever. And I think we're allowed maybe about a 30-second grace period. True. And also for the table topics, I'll be keeping track of those times. Those are
1 to 2.
1 to 2 minutes. And you're allowed, I think, a 15-second grace, 30-second grace period on both sides also.
Then evaluations, 2 to 3 minutes.
Yes, in evaluations, sure.
By the way, I've got to change to my speech time. I was 8 to 10. I'm going to be 5 to 7 this evening.
5 to 7 minutes.
Thank God.
5 to 7.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
And our fabulous awe counter this evening, Kate. Can you stand up?
Yay! She'll be clicking too.
I will be your awe counter this evening. I'm responsible to note the words and the sounds that are used as your crutch words. And so, okay, like, well, pregnant pauses and double clutches. We will not click the speakers or the guests this evening. Everyone else is fair game. I'll give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
All right.
And the lovely Kate Ewing's in the back. Can you please stand up and tell us
Woo!
where you're going?
The one and only.
What am I doing?
Oh, no, ballot counter is
Oh,
Tom.
ballot counter. Oh.
Yes, he's very excited about it. So Tom, ballot counting.
He was voluntold. Yeah, Tom.
I'm a little perplexed that I haven't gotten the same ovation that the Kates got. I'm even more perplexed at the lack of hair with Don and Kevin. That's okay. I will be your ballot counter tonight. I have the challenging job that I hope I'm up to, where I'm actually going to collect and count the ballots for best speaker, best table topics, and best evaluator. And assuming that nobody pays me any money to influence my vote, I'll give a fair assessment at the end. Give out the awards with the coveted ribbons. I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
And the evaluators. Point of order, I do introduce the evaluators and their times, right? Okay, evaluator number 1, can you please stand up and tell us, you're gonna be evaluating Kate,
Okay.
the 2 Kates.
Yes, this is what I thought you were asking me the previous time. I am evaluating Amanda's speech today. She's giving an icebreaker, and she's just looking for a general evaluation, and we're excited to hear her first speech.
Yes.
And Loki, your evaluator number 2, can you stand up and tell us who you're evaluating?
Yeah, so I'm going to evaluate Steve. His speech is from effective coaching number 2. I'm supposed to look for and then give evaluation so that he can give the second speech later. The same speech later. That's it.
Thank you. I will give you my report at the end regarding the overall meeting. Madam Toastmaster, thank you.
Thank you, Nona. For our first speaker, I met her in the second club. She did an icebreaker this Monday. However, I wasn't able to attend. So I invite her to give the second icebreaker speech at the Thursday. I know for every new member, icebreaker seems ice shaking. However, you will find out how wonderful a person is from the first speech. And so now it's the time for our first timer speaker, Amanda.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, Mom. So I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about myself, and I want to tell you how I ended up at Toastmasters. So my journey of how I started out at Toastmasters. But first I want to tell you that I peaked in 5th grade. When I was in 5th grade, it was the highlight of Amanda Parks' public speaking skills. Because in 5th grade, we had to give a speech called Night of the Notables. And you can choose an author, an athlete, a politician, anybody that you wanted, and give a bio speech in front of your classmates and parents. And then at the end of the night, people would vote on who had the best speech. I chose Laura Ingalls Wilder, who was the author of Little House on the Prairie, because her story really resonated with me because her family had moved around a lot, had all these crazy adventures. My family moved around a lot. I thought we had crazy adventures. So I went up there, I gave my speech about Laura Ingalls Wilder, and I went and I sat down and I said, thank God that's over. Well, it turns out I won the best speech that night. And I was shocked because I did not think that I did well. And just moments before I went on stage, I was back behind the curtain just saying, please let me not have any bodily functions that would embarrass me. And I didn't. But so in 5th grade, I won Best Outstanding Speaker for my speech. So when I went to junior high and I had to give a speech in English class, I thought, okay, I got this. I'm Best Outstanding Speaker. But I went up there and I started to speak, but more importantly, I started to shake, and my hands were shaking. And I looked at myself and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I shaking? I was so nervous being up there in my junior high class, and this was shocking to me because when I'm sitting at my desk, I'm talking and I'm raising my hand, I'm a lifelong learner. Why am I so afraid to speak? So I was just so nervous. I rushed through that speech, couldn't wait to sit down. My face was bright red. So I thought, when I go to high school, I'm gonna do something about this. I need to improve my public speaking skills, so what can I do? I know, I'll join speech and debate. This will be great. I'm gonna learn how to debate, and I'm gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna have logical thoughts, and I'm gonna be this great debater. But it turns out, not so much. As my husband can tell you, debating for me, I get a little too passionate. Logic kind of goes out the window. Feelings are very front and center. So debate really wasn't my thing. But I really liked the speech part. And that was where we would do these individual monologues or duos together. And then I was with my friends, and we would go to different schools, and we would compete. And we'd get up there and give our monologues and, you know, place in some awards. So I felt really good about that, but I realized I still need to get out there. I still need to do something. What can I do? I know, I'll try out for cheerleading. So I went out there. I know I'm loud. I can be passionate and energetic when I need to, and I can yell, "Go Broncos!" when we're in Colorado. So I was really excited. I practiced, I tried out, but my body just doesn't do what I want it to do, and so I wasn't really good enough to make the cheerleading team. But they said, "Amanda, we have something else for you because we love your passion and your energy. How would you like to be the school mascot? How would you like to be Lucky the Lobo?" Which is a wolf. I don't know why I love the Lobo. And I said, "Sure, that sounds great. I'd love to be Lucky the Lobo. I'll put on this giant wolf head and this wolf costume, and I could still tumble and move around and do all the fun stuff I wanted to. And I wasn't held to the same standard as a cheerleader because I'm a wolf, and any kind of movement I do is exciting." And people praised me, and they said, "Amanda, you're so creative. You do all these wonderful things. You get the crowd energized." And I felt really good about it. But again, that was Lucky. That wasn't me. You know, Lucky is a wolf of few words, if any at all. So I said, okay, you know, this is great, but I still want to do something else. So when I went to college, I got my history degree. I love history, I love learning about people and different things. So I'm learning how to write and research, but I said, I really need to work on my oral skills as well. What can I do? I know, I'll get a communications minor. So we did all these communications class, group communication, the dynamics of communication, how can you do? And everything was fine until I had to give that speech. And so I get up at the stage and they said, "Amanda, you can talk about anything you want for 5 minutes." So I said, "Great. I'm going to talk about my dog Dugan. I love him. He's a German Shepherd Pit Bull mix. He's a crazy, wonderful dog. I love him. I can't wait to talk about him." I get up there, and again, that nervousness. I don't know where it comes from. I have pictures of my dog. I shouldn't be nervous. My dog is right there. So again, I was just nervous. So now here I am, a project manager working at Arizona State University. And there's times where I have to give speeches or I have to talk about the marketing projects that we're doing. And for the most part, again, if I'm sitting down, I'm okay to do it, but it's when I have to stand and talk in front of people like I'm doing now that my voice gets really dry and there's no moisture in my mouth. So recently I had to put on a barbecue because I was elected vice president of the staff council at ASU. So we hosted a barbecue for all of the staff members, and I had to introduce the university president, President Michael Crow. And so I go up there, but before I go up there, we're having a barbecue, and everybody's like, "Amanda, this food is great. Have you tried it? Would you like to have some?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I can't eat right now. I have to give a speech. There's just no way I could eat." So I go up there, I say my 2 minutes, introduce President Michael Crow. I went okay, but immediately sat down, and finally I was like, okay, now I can eat. So that's kind of what led me to Toastmasters here and why I'm here today. And I just am looking forward to moving on this journey and continuing to improve my public speaking skills. And thank you for your time.
Nice job.
Thank you, Nana, for wonderful speech. And so now the timer. May we have a minute for evaluation?
Okay, 1 minute.
Okay. Our second speaker is a seasoned speaker in the club. And today he will talk about the wheel wind. Steve will discuss the 14 disciplines of education by Franklin Covey, a program designed to help teens stay accountable and achieve their goals. Second speaker, Steve.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Thank you very much for having me. Before I begin, I'd like to share with you this evening's presentation initially included a visual aid, which unfortunately we are not able to give tonight. Please forgive me, I will be giving this speech a second time and you'll have the visuals in all of their glory. However, I do want to point out that I have a couple of documents here. If you don't have one, bear with me, I'll make sure you do get one by the end, but a couple of things I'll be using as illustrations. Fellow Toastmasters, how many of you would consider yourselves great leaders? Wow, it's surprising. How many of you, regardless of your opinion of yourself as a great leader, feel like you can get it done? Wow, more of you, fantastic. I'm going to share with you a few principles about how to get it done, 3 snaps in a Z formation. Has anybody, I had an extra one, so I figured why not? Has anyone heard of the 4 Disciplines of Execution by Franklin Covey? Anybody in the room? We've got one, fantastic. Where'd you hear about it? Just curious.
Book.
Oh, you read the book, very good. Marriott International rolled out a program in 2012, the 4 Disciplines of Execution, Franklin Covey's solution on how to help organizations be more effective. This was well received at first, and then poorly received when we all realized we would really have to actually commit to things and then do them. Really a very interesting process. It's called Breakthrough Leadership, or BLT as we all like to call it. Anybody in the room like BLTs?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, me too. Every time I hear BLT, and I know our WIG meeting, or our wildly important goal cadence call, every time I really want a BLT, I'm like, man, I want some extra bacon on that thing. I want some heirloom tomato, because I'm in catering, so I could do that too. I wander into the kitchen. WIG meeting's coming up, rather BLT, I'm hungry, you know? Chef takes care of me. Listen, there's a couple things I want to focus on. First off, you have to identify what is absolutely most important. Those of you that either own your own business or are in charge of a major initiative, how many of you know exactly what's most important in your organization? Right? Good couple, okay. I'm just curious. Teresa, tell me what's most important in your organization?
What's most important in our organization is our guests. So our guests is our most important. ensuring that everybody goes home with a paycheck. So also, our employees are more important as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Someone else raise their hand. Don? What's most
Absolutely
important?
the employees.
Sure, absolutely. Do we have a goal that you're working on? Is there something that you've said, this is what we want to get done? Anybody? Here's the thing, when we know what the goal is, and we know how we're doing against the goal, we're able to move the needle. A WIG, a wildly important goal, is from X to Y by when. I'd like to point out the first piece of paper. This is an example of our pace setting from the Westin Kierland with all of our different goals that we set out. You can see, for example, right at the top, overall hotel WIG, improve GSS, which is guest service satisfaction. For us, it's our associates that's most important, but we have to measure how our guests feel about it and then make sure we circle back and take care of our associates too. But we wanted to improve our intent to recommend. How many of you, after staying at the Westin Kierland, feel like, I am so blown away that I have to tell someone about this, and I have to tell them that they too have to stay at the Westin Kierland. We're going to move that intent to recommend from X, let's say it's an 89.1, to Y, let's say it's a 90.2, by what date? Well, what's wonderful is a wildly important goal can be done once a year or twice a year. You want to make sure that everybody has the same goal. When everyone is aligned, for example at Toastmasters, let's say our wildly important goal is going to be, we're going to drive membership from 41 to 46 by December 31st. If we're going to set that, we're all going to move on the same goal. Then we're going to set sub-WIGs. Maybe one of the sub-wildly important goals is going to be, make sure that you introduce yourself to every guest, every time, every leadership member. Right? So we might look at something that we can measure that way. It's really important. Does anybody at work, I mean really when you think about it, does anybody at work have no idea what the goal is? Anybody go to work every day and they're like, I have no idea what we're here, I mean, I know I'm here to make money, I know I'm here to serve guests, but I have no idea what the actual goal is. Anybody in that position? Yeah? Okay. How many of you aren't going to admit it because you have no idea what the heck that actually means?
I'm perplexed.
That's bad. Oh! Yes! You win. See, I can't click it. You win the award of the day. Thank you very much for that. That's fantastic. All right, focus on the wildly important. That's the first principle. Thinking about how to get from X to Y by when. Right? Everybody got that? The second discipline that Franklin Covey focuses on is all about lead measures. Now, what the heck is a lead measure? I want to have you take a quick look at our little day 3. This came out of a packet that we did for the Westin Kierland, and then I adopted it for another hotel. And I want you to look at lead measures. These are goals tracked on a weekly basis, and each are specific to each department or position. So in truth, when we talk about how to apply a lead measure, why do we call it a lead measure? You see, there's a lead measure and there's a lag measure. A lead measure is something that you can measure as a behavior or an activity, an action that you do in order to move your WIG forward. A lag measure is essentially the number after the fact, and it's already too late to do anything about it. So lead measures might be the actual behavior, and it would in fact be, we're going to introduce ourselves to every single person every single time, right? Those lead measures can be tracked. Really important to keep that in mind. So you have your WIG, you have your lead measure. My lead measure for losing weight, because I want to get from 187 to 180 by September 30th, and my lead measure is to make sure that I run 3 times a week. I'll tell you something, that WIG sucks. It sucks, but I'm doing it. You want to keep a compelling scoreboard. So we don't know what exactly our goal is or how we're doing against the goal unless we put it up there. And a lot of times we worry, if I put it up there and I see that I'm not making progress, I'm going to be totally demotivated, but that's not the case. You want to make sure that you keep a compelling scoreboard. If you're winning, it's going to be there with a smiley face. If you're not winning, your opportunity to grow, it'll be there with a red, sad face. Is there anyone in the room that can think of a way that you or your organization tracks how you're doing towards some goal that you have?
Customer service.
Customer service, right? How do you put that up? Is there?
I said customer surveys.
Oh, customer surveys. How do you put those results up? How do you see those results?
They're tallied at the end of the week.
And are they shared with everybody?
Yes.
Okay, that's an excellent way to do that.
It's to motivate, to show, give them give him kudos.
I love that. I love that you said that, Jeannie, because it's really important that our employees are not perplexed when they're thinking about how we're doing and where we're at. We want to make sure that we are continuing to move ourselves forward by grabbing the momentum of doing well and seeing how we're doing together. So the compelling scoreboard is really a big deal. We play differently when we know that we're keeping score, right? The last is creating a cadence of accountability. Mr. Timer, I promise I'm wrapping up. A cadence of accountability is all about getting together on a regular schedule and making sure that we are touching base on our commitments. For example, the organization's leaders here at Toastmasters could get together once a month at the executive meeting. We could all sit there and we could look at each other. I don't know, what are you doing? I don't know, what are you working on? I don't know. To be honest with you as president, I didn't do a very good job of creating a cadence of accountability. However, Kelly is planning to do a much, no, sorry, Kelly is doing a much better, you look great. Kelly's planning to do a much better job of making sure that our officers are coming together with at least one commitment, one thing that they're going to do, and the results of that commitment from last month, and report out. Because you know what? We are far more accountable to our peers than we are to a leader, to a boss. Because it's embarrassing if we can't turn to our peer and be like, nailed it. You know what I mean? Anybody have that feeling before? That feeling of slight twinge of embarrassment when you're like, you know? It's really important to make sure that we keep a cadence of accountability. And it's important that we continue to do it regardless of how hard it feels. Because it is important sometimes that we show up and we fail. And we say, you know what? I'm not a map maker. I'm a journeyman, just like you, and we're on this journey together. All right? That's really important. Those are the 4 disciplines of execution. I'd like to invite you to just take a quick look, maybe take these home, take a glance at these, and if there's a way that you can apply them at work, or if you have questions, I can help. I want to share with you, I gave this speech about a year ago, and John, our former Sergeant of Arms, actually brought this to Goodwill, and it was put into practice. Are you guys familiar with the 4 disciplines of execution? What do you guys call it?
It's used in his department.
Oh.
We actually, in my department, use a different Franklin Covey set of practices. I'm pretty bought into it.
Well, Franklin Covey's amazing, so
Yes.
clearly it's working somewhere. I invite you to take a look at how you can analyze how effective you are, how effective your team is, and challenge them to make sure that you use those 4 disciplines. You want to make sure that you're having the goal, you know what the WIG is, that you're creating a lead measure and getting ahead of it, that you're creating a compelling scoreboard, and every week, every month, every quarter, you're making sure you meet and you talk about what you can do. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Steve. And now it's for 1 minute for evaluation.
That's Kate here.
Okay, time.
Thank you. And also, may we have the time report for the speaker?
Yes. So Amanda spoke for 6 minutes and 16 seconds, and Stephen spoke for 10 minutes and 19 seconds. So Amanda qualified. Stephen, I think you were at 5 to 7
Yeah,
minutes,
it's
moved to 2,
absolutely,
so
yeah.
barely missed it. But he still seems to see it.
No, he was 10 to 12.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said that.
Thank you. And now is the time to vote for best speaker.
Amanda, because it's just
Oh.
Amanda.
Okay. Okay, so now it's a time for joke, and today our joke master is from Barry.
All Ladies and gentlemen, it's always good to hear some laughter in a day that makes it better, especially if you have a bad day. Today, this evening, I have only a couple of jokes that are from work. The gentleman was at an interview with the boss, and the boss asked him, what is his worst weakness? So the gentleman goes, I am always honest. So the boss goes, no, this is a good deal. It's good to be honest. That's what I think. And he goes, I don't give a shit what you think. Why did the employee get fired from the calendar factory? Anybody? Because he took the day off. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. And now I'll return the control to Nona.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And now it's our evaluation portion of the meeting, and I'd like to first bring up Ms. Kate Ewing. She's going to be evaluating. Kate.
Thank you, General Evaluator. I'm excited to evaluate Amanda's icebreaker today. Amanda, you did fantastic. I have 4 things I thought were awesome, and then 2 areas I think you could improve. The first one is a lot of people get up here to give an icebreaker, and it's all over the place. Like they're starting from when they were born, or even like when their parents met, and then in 5 minutes they're gonna take us to now. So I like that yours had a central theme, public speaking, and how that's kind of been part of your life and how it is now. Secondly, you're so funny, and I like funny people, so we're gonna get along. There were so many great ones. My favorite was my body doesn't move the way I want it to, or you peaked in 5th grade. You were fantastic. Which leads me into my third one, and I think it was so funny because of your vocal variety. Just the way you said the things and you let people laugh. It was fantastic. I loved it all. You asked me to look for your gestures. I think they were very natural. I mean, they weren't like obviously planned out, which I don't like, but they were natural, they weren't distracting. I think they added to your speech, and you enunciated your words very well. So that was your other thing you wanted to look for. 2 areas of improvement, it's tough. This was a really good icebreaker. The first one, you brought your notes up here, but you didn't need them. So I don't know why this is in the center. It's throwing me off. Steve and I are buddies. She's not gonna click me.
She's sleepy. She's sleepy.
We both have the same name. We can't click each other. It's a rule. Anyway.
Wait, I'm perplexed.
See? You brought your notes up here. I don't think you needed them, but I understand why you brought them up here. And the second thing is, I think it's a little more advanced, but you've been doing this since 5th grade, so I think you could use the staging a little more. So like when you were at the barbecue with Michael Crow, you could have been over here, and then in 5th grade here, or however you wanted to do it. But that would be my only challenge for you, is to try to be a little more creative with the staging. Overall, you're very funny. I enjoyed it a lot, and I look forward to your next speech.
Caitlin, honestly, we don't care what you think.
Very.
Be nice.
We have a fun group here
No, I
tonight.
do care.
Kofi, can you please come up and do your evaluation for Steve? Sir.
See, fellow Toastmaster, most welcome guests. As you can see, today's in Toastmaster, we just thought, okay, we will do speech, we talk about ourselves, but today, I learned about 2 different things. First of all, I learned from Amanda of how I did went through to my speech. And I also learned from Steve is how the organizations perform and how the organization can succeed by using different type of activity. So let's get back to Steve. Thank you very much for this speech. This is an eye-opening of how the organization survived. So first of all, let me talk about the organization that your speech is. From the beginning, you already attract and engage the audience by all your questions. You ask people about personal, who in the audience is considered leadership. And then the next question you asked was who in the audience know how to get it done, how to get the goal is done. So that is what attracted me to the speech in the beginning. Then you introduce us to the component of the Franklin Covey discipline of execution. You tell us about the WIG, W-I-G, how to create goal, from the beginning point to the end point, and to spend how much time to create that goal. I learned another similar things about the goal is called SMART, which is the same type of WIG, but the M and the T, the M is from one point to another one, and the T is the time, just like your WIG, how you accomplish from point X, which is the beginning point, to the end point of X. Then you go to the second part of the Frank Covey discipline of LEAD, which is your way to track the process. I think I might have missed your third one, but I think how you type your second to your third by using the fourth one, which is the accountability. So in the sense, you tell us the four things of the Frank Covey discipline. The mechanic of your speech, you have a strong voice, and you show enthusiasm about this, and you use the stage for this. You actually engage the audience throughout the speech, but there's one thing that I would like to suggest is you have a lot of definition. You have the WIG, you have the lead, and you have the lock way. It would be great to see all the definition online on the screen, and definitely I would greatly appreciate if you can summarize all the 4 points at the end. Otherwise, thank you for the speech, and G.
Thank you. Thank you, Hoving. Great evaluations. Can I have the timer's report on the evaluations, please?
Kate spoke for 2 minutes and 3 seconds, and Hovey spoke for 3 minutes and 35 seconds. So Hovey is disqualified due to time.
It's the track of my speech.
All right. We will not be voting for best evaluator because by default, Kate wins tonight. All right. Now I'd like to bring up our table topics master. It's the fun portion of the meeting where we get to practice extemporaneous speaking. Melissa, can you please come up?
All right, Melissa.
My printer wasn't working, so I had to write all these questions down. I tried to pick questions that were in line with the theme. So if anybody wants to come up here, love a volunteer.
try to pick one.
What inspires you?
Thank you. What's your name again?
Melissa.
Melissa, thank you. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters and most honored guests. I guess I can actually, there's a correlation between these. That's from last time and what inspires me and what gives me joy. So pretty much it's gonna be the same question. So what inspires me every single day would be my family. They're my biggest inspiration. I wake up for them, I go to bed for them, I work for them, but also myself. So my biggest inspiration is myself, because if I'm not inspired, how the heck am I gonna inspire somebody else? So it all begins with me, so my biggest inspiration is myself.
Wow, very good, yeah.
Point of order, tabletop smash.
Yes.
Please remind her.
Yeah, I was on, but.
Got it, cool.
So please use the word of the day. Does anybody else want to come out?
I'm so sorry.
Evelyn, do you want to come out?
Come on, Evelyn.
Okay. What have you done in the past that is most meaningful to you?
I'm perplexed.
Right.
There's a lot of things that I've done. Most meaningful, I guess I don't like most and least. It's hard because there's so many different things that we all do every day. I guess right now, my focus is on my business and where I'm going with that. And my goal with that is to not just help get pets healthier, but also the basis for the problems with a lot of pet health issues is the same as human health issues. So it really comes down to helping the health of people, pets, and the planet, because if we don't take care of all of that, it doesn't matter. So, most meaningful thing, that was a transition, sorry. Then I lost my train of thought. My point is that in helping pets to get better, I'm also going to be working on teaching people about the things that make the pets sick also make them sick, and also damage the planet and damage all things for all of us. So that's my thing. And yes, that was a really
Her number, no. What does it go up to? I know, Dan said.
Yeah,
But no,
whatever you wanna do.
what do they go up to?
I wrote 16 questions down, so.
Wow. That is, let's do 15.
Okay. What are your favorite things to do?
What are my favorite things to do? Are probably different than what I do most often, which is work. And then when I'm at home, cleaning. But I think my favorite thing to do, or some of my favorite things to do, are to play music. So I started years ago playing guitar because every kid wants to be a rock star when they grow up. And only recently did I learn that, wow, I'm better at piano than I am at guitar. If I had actually applied myself, I might have done something musically playing the piano. So I like to play piano and guitar and drums as well, because it uses a part of my brain that I don't normally use every day, which is great because on a day like today, I didn't want to get up today, which is perplexing because I normally like to talk, because I I had one of those days at work that just take you down, and I was sapped with my energy. I could go home right now and sit down and play piano for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll be zapped out of it. So I wish I could kind of carry one of those with a keyboard with me to work and kind of go off in a corner and play to get over myself. And that is one of my favorite things to do.
All right.
And we got Dee.
If you had to teach something, what would you teach?
Motivational speaking.
All
That's what I
right.
like to teach. I really want to be a motivational speaker, but I have to learn to speak first, right? I think I need to learn to speak first. This is my first meeting. I'm not, I don't feel like I'm in AAA, or what is it, I like to talk. Ask my husband. I like to talk a lot, but talking to a lot of people like this is something I'm not used to doing, but if I could do it, I would, because I like to motivate people. I like to get people going, because it's so much easier to let them do it then. So that would be my, what did you ask me?
If you could teach,
Yeah, I would like to teach motivational speaking. Thank you very much, and I forgot to say thank you. Oh, and I'm very perplexed on how I'm doing.
And I bet you're in argument with your husband, right?
He's not here. He's in
I know,
another
but normal.
city. Oh, yeah. I did.
Alright, you wanna pick a number?
Raj, R-A-J.
Alright, what makes you smile?
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. The question is what make me smile? Everybody in this room and any human being who is nice to me, I smile. It is never perplexed me that why I shouldn't be smiling. It's free. We should be using it. As I understood in one of the reading on the scientific research, it says when we smile, it releases many times more muscles than when we are sad. So it is one way of releasing our pressure or depression or the tension. So anytime if I am free and I am not even in front of human, I will not miss that chance to smile. It's free. Thank you.
Anybody else wanna come on? Dan? No?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Down again, it's change, down again.
Do you want me to pick one? You wanna pick one?
Just go ahead.
Alright. What is on your bucket list?
I'm perplexed.
I'm not perplexed. My third book is on my bucket list. And the title, the name of the book is?
Change.
Change. The first chapter of the book
Imagine.
is, the first chapter of the book is my international speech that just flunked out here a couple of months ago. And then also the speech from a few years ago entitled Progress Not Perfection will be in the book. Imagine, Barry, will probably be in the book.
I need that.
And I'm really excited about it. This book is more realistic, I mean, I know every one of you here will want to pay twice as much as what the book is on the market.
I'll go to
4 times as much, Tom said. For one thing, in one chapter, we'll talk about so we begin to realize, us as adults, what we're doing. as most of us are afraid or don't like change. I refer to when you were just a few months old. 10 or 15 times a day, you experienced change. And you were happy with that change. So what happened that when you become an adult, you turn the opposite way in how you feel about change? From practicing that speech about 300 times, it has helped me change, and it's made a huge impact in my thinking and in my emotions, my motivation and everything. It is, if you do that, you'll see it's all right. No matter if it's bad, you just face it head on and get through it.
All right. Now you got time.
All right, Al.
If you didn't have a job, how would you choose to fill those hours?
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. If I didn't have a job, well, I would be so happy. I wouldn't have any troubles filling the hours. I have so many different hobbies. I like model railroading. My wife and I go kayaking. We just recently bought a 2-person kayak. We love to hit some of the lakes around town. I do home repair, remodeling, building things. In fact, today I was just out at Metals Warehouse and picked up some tubular steel to build a patio table for myself on our back porch. And we're going to be doing a really interesting mosaic tile pattern on the top of it when we get done. I'll bring a picture in when it's finished. I go bicycle riding and hiking, so I wouldn't have any trouble filling up my hours of the day. In fact, I hope that maybe I would have some time then, if I didn't have to work, to maybe do some volunteer work and help out in the community and do other things that will help society. So again, if I didn't have the job I have, yoo-hoo, let's go out and get some things done. Madam Tabletops.
What legacy would you want to leave behind?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. As good a question as that is, I want to take one of the previous questions. What was my most important experience in life? Something like that. And I'm going to narrow it down to Toastmasters, because that's what I love to do. Most important moments of my life in Toastmasters has been seeing people step into their fear, to face their fear, to overcome their fear. It's been said, and I'm sure you've all heard it, that fear is the number one, or public speaking is the number one fear that people have. And to see people step into their fear and face it and overcome it has been my greatest joy in Toastmasters. My greatest joy in life, actually. Be able to see people do this. I remember when I first joined Unity Feet Speakers a number of years ago, there was a woman named Mel Pettis. Mel was a shining example of facing fear. For those of you who don't know her, and most of you don't, she had had a stroke and had lost the ability to speak. And she decided to join Toastmasters as a way to be able to regain her ability to communicate. She'd previously been a teacher. And when I came into Toastmasters, she had been around for a while, and she was very passionate about getting people to join. And I remember a story that I heard her tell, or told about her, where as she was regaining her ability to communicate, she said, she went to the secretary at the church where the meetings used to be held, and she was very excited, and she said, I can now say 3-syllable words. That was an accomplishment of great importance to her. And she turned around and she worked very diligently to help people move in Toastmasters. And a more recent one, Tracy, where are you? There you are. I have not experienced anything more pleasurable in Toastmasters than to see this woman step into her fear, to face her fear. And I can't imagine what it must have been like to be in her shoes with a severe stutter and work as diligently and hard as she's had to work to overcome that. And to participate in the international speech competition a few months ago, and to take second. And those of you who weren't there, when she competed at the club level, when she competed at the area level, when she competed at the district level, when she competed at the division level, each and every time she gave that speech, she received a standing ovation. That is unheard of. And the reason I want to say that is she is a shining example of a person who is inspiring others to face their fear. So if you have a fear, if you haven't done something that you want to do that involves public speaking, whether it's just one-on-one with somebody else or in front of a group, use her example, use Mel's example of what's possible. When you face your fear, there's potential that you're going to succeed, or there's a potential that you're not going to be successful at that time. But if you keep at it the way that Tracy has, you will ultimately be successful. And I hope you're not too perplexed with my answer.
One more? Kevin, do you want to come up? What activities make you feel fully alive and invigorated?
Activities. Thank you so much for that. What activities make me feel alive and fully invigorated? This is going to sound unusual, but I'm going to throw it out there. I love to read. When I read, there's so many things I can tell. Motorcycle riding. A couple weeks ago, I jumped off of this pole that was 40 feet in the air with some belays, which are ropes tied to my back. That's invigorating. But reading takes me somewhere special. It takes me into another person's imagination, or it takes me into their life. And I've always wanted to have more time to read, and now I have it. And I'm experiencing something that I've never experienced before, and that's excitement of what other people have been through. And autobiographies and their life and their goals and what means something to them and what inspires them and what gets them going. And like Jeannie said, I want to pump people up. I want to get them going. So when I read, I get excited because it gets me going. Thank you.
Now turn it back over to our general evaluator.
Thank you. I was perplexed with all those answers tonight. Okay, can I have a timer's report on table topics, please?
Yes. I missed the word of the day on a few of these, but Teresa spoke for 40 seconds. Evelyn for 1 minute and 31 seconds. Michael for 1 minute and 22 seconds. Jeannie, 53 seconds. Raj, 54 seconds. Dan, 1 minute and 55 seconds. Howard, 1 minute and 9 seconds. Don, 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And Kevin, 57 seconds. Word of the day, Dan, Michael, Jeannie, Viraj. Did I miss anyone else? Okay, so those are the, but he didn't qualify due to time.
No.
Okay, Evelyn, so the people you can vote for are Evelyn, Michael, Jeannie, Viraj, and Dan.
Can I give it at there? The word of the day, if you're talking about who used the word of the day?
Yes.
Steve used the word of the day. Evelyn, Michael, Jeannie, Raj, Dan, and Dawn.
Yep.
Nice.
Please take a moment to vote. Over
Who may we vote for?
Could you please read those off again, please, Tyler?
Yes, Michael, Jeannie, Viraj, and Dan, and Evelyn.
Evelyn.
And Evelyn.
So you're voting for Evelyn, Jeannie, Raj, Michael, or Dan for the best table topics of the evening. And Kate is going to be coming around. Oh, Tom is going to be coming around with the beautiful blue bag.
Good table topics. You can say these, but
I didn't see it.
no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's how we learn.
Man.
I knew it was long anyway. I wasn't-
Okay. Because I'm trying to do it like this.
Great. I'm gonna go ahead and call for our functionary reports now. Kate, could you stand up and give us your report, please? Yes.
We had a really clean night. Kevin, you had 2 ums. Matt, your favorite word is so. You had 1 ah. Hovey, your favorite word is Tracy, you had an and a so. Amanda, I didn't click you, but your favorite word is so. Melissa, you had 1 Teresa, you had 3 so's. Michael, you had 1 and. Jeannie, you had 2 ums and 1 so. Raj, you had 1 Everybody else was clean.
That's great.
Nice, and I believe, Matt, did you give your report already on the grammarian?
Everybody
Kevin,
spoke
sorry,
really
Kevin. Kevin, can you please stand up?
So much. We had a fantastic night, great quotes. Steve said the cadence of accountability is important because we play different when we're keeping score, which I thought was a great quote. Evelyn said pets in the planet, got to keep the priorities straight. Michael said basically pianos rock. Okay, Jeannie said speak to motivate and get people moving, get people going. And Raj, smiling is free.
And Mr. Bally Counter, do we have some totals?
Yeah.
Why? We're not out of time.
No, we're not.
Okay. It's my time. Hi, everybody. Free licorice outside, by the way. Well, this has been a lot of fun since everybody went over time and everything, so I don't really have much to say. I have a best speaker ribbon, which I'll give last. I do have an icebreaker, and as luck would have it, let's see, I guess that would be our best speaker. So let's say, Amanda, come on up.
All right, Amanda. Official Unity photographer.
It's you. It's all you.
How about that?
Yeah.
Cheese, Wisconsin cheese.
Everyone loves Raymond.
Oh, just about like a few years, you know.
I know what I'll say when I get to the meeting tonight. Our best evaluator tonight by a landslide default is Old Kate.
Dog house. Dog house. I think she is the best.
You're not holding the ribbon.
Tom, I think she is better than you. Better than you. I'm perplexed.
We actually did have a vote. It was extremely close, so let's have a drum roll. Top speaker tonight, Dan McGinnis.
perplexed. I cannot imagine that. Imagine.
Imagine.
Two of them together.
Yes.
There! I like this,
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that.
right? He is perplexed, confused.
All right, so now it's the evaluation portion of the meeting. And what I'd like to say tonight is that I thought that we did a great job. We started on time. We had a couple of hiccups in the beginning of the meeting. And for those of you who are new, Toastmasters provides us a set of structure, if you will, for us to follow. And the reason why they do that is for us to learn how to conduct a meeting in here so we can take it out in the world and practice it in real life. So there's some structure and protocol that we need to follow. And I thought we did a great job of recovering from that tonight. We had a couple of hiccups, but we made through it. I thought we did a great job of engaging our guests. As we always do here, we always entertain our guests, and we even had a new guest come up and try table topics, so that was awesome. And I would say that most of all, it's focusing in on the process. We learn so much here in Toastmasters, and again, the protocol of things. And I know in another club that I attend, they have a hard time with using the gavel. And one of the things that we learn here in Toastmasters, again, it's about the structure, it's about following the protocol of things. We do a great job of following protocol and teaching others what it means to follow the Toastmasters way here in Unity. And I really, really respect that, and I really appreciate how we handle that. The only thing that I would suggest on improvement is that if you're going to take a role, and I would encourage anyone who wants to become a better speaker, is to always sign up for roles, whether it's a timer, counter, whatever, take a role every week. But if you're gonna take a role, I would say is that get a buddy. And if you're not able to be here on time, or if you're not able to make it at all, then text that buddy and just let them know. And that way you always have a backup, and that helps also to make sure that the meeting's gonna flow well. Other than that, I think we did a fabulous job tonight, and thank you again for letting me be your general evaluator.
All right.
Thank you so much, Nona, for wonderful evaluations. And I also want to thank everyone who took a function quiz. The meeting cannot go smooth without your help. And to wrap up the meeting, the theme for today is find your why. I want to use a few minutes to let everyone here to think about the first day, the first time you decide to sign up for Toastmasters. What you want to get and how you achieve your goal. So Toastmaster is not only a chance to practice the public speaking skills, it's also a chance to social, to meet some people who will inspire you, who will give you some new thoughts. And I especially like or agree with one point Nona has mentioned. Sign up for roles, starting from the simplest role. Use the chance to practice. Use the chance to know people, and use the chance to build up your leadership. In nutshell, thanks all for coming, and I'll return the control to our Kelly.
All right.
Everyone, there is a sign-up sheet for the next couple of meetings. Has everyone seen that? Keep going around. Well, if you want to see it, Dan's got it. And I guess any announcements after all that meeting from anyone? No? Yes, sir.
You might be, I don't know, so I signed, so I'm Hoving Nguyen, I'm the new VP of Education.
Yeah.
So like twice a year, Toastmaster have what they call the Toastmaster Leadership Institute. It's a training for not just the officer of the club, but also for member of the club. The good thing is our club pay for member or officer to go to those meetings. I sent out an email regarding the list of a date, so feel free to email me the date that you want, or email Raj or someone, so that we can let us know who's going and which day you can go. There's a couple of days, and the next one is in 2 weeks in the future, and it's going to be in Scottsdale.
Thank you. So I'd like to hear from our guests. Eric, what do you think of the meeting tonight? Are we joining? Awesome. You'll be a member
I
next
keep
week?
hearing that
Awesome.
word.
Kevin.
I need a babysitter.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that gets me out of the house is what I need these days. No, I thought it was great. I enjoyed everybody once again. As far as getting to know you guys, I love the energy that you guys bring. It's inspiring to me personally. So I really appreciate getting to know it and everybody being very welcoming to me. I appreciate that.
Thank you. What do you think of tonight's meeting?
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I like the camaraderie, and I think everybody helping each other is awesome. And if they had a Toastmasters around me, I would definitely join. But I live in a town of less than 300, so.
Oh. Start a club.
There's nothing there.
Start a club. Start a club.
No, I want to move the hell out of there.
Thank you for coming tonight. Ronald, thank you for attending. What do you think of the meeting?
I had a good time. Sorry for being late. I had a hard time finding the place. But I'm new in town. Dan invited me out, so I appreciate you, Dan, for inviting me out. And it's good to meet everybody. I like the energy. Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Teresa, what do you think about tonight's meeting?
Oh my God.
So proud of you, by the way.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to everybody. A lot of my associates, a lot of the assistant managers and the general managers and my TLs and all that, blah, 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 they all want to join. I'm sitting here like, you're not getting my group. I don't want you, like, I'm so jealous of it. There's a lot of people going to be coming here, and I'm just like, I have to share. I don't want to share. I'm selfish. I want this group for myself, but I also want to inspire everybody else. So
Right.
we'll be getting a lot of people here. And I'm a little sad. I have you guys all to myself, but like I said.
We won't vote them in if you don't want us to.
No. Come on now.
All right, thanks.
We have someone studying next to Evelyn, and please tell us your name and what do you think?
Kimberly. I've actually been here once before.
Okay.
Yes, I've been out of town. I'm a college student, so I really enjoyed all the energy. I was here a little bit early today, and I really enjoyed all of the jokes and everyone appreciating new haircuts and shaves. I guess I just wish that this camaraderie was present in colleges and in the classroom, and especially lecture halls. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming tonight. We have the gentleman, please forgive me, I don't remember your name, next to Barrage.
Oh, John.
Hi, John.
Hi there.
Welcome back.
I'm ready to join.
Wonderful, well, we'll hook you up with Kevin and Hobie, well, congratulations. Yes, Lana. Right, and Christine, welcome back again, what do you think of tonight's meeting?
Yes, I see this club still has a lot of energy, just like we did last time I was here. And it's pretty good. Amanda, you did a good job. I can't believe that's your icebreaker. It sounds to me like you've been speaking up there for a while.
Right.
Since first fifth grade.
Yeah, you still have it, you're still a good speaker.
Christine, we miss your controversial speeches. Come and join.
We're happy to have you, Christine. And then we've got one more. You sure you're back there, sir? I didn't catch you in the beginning. My apologies. Tell us your name and what do you think of the meeting?
My name is Frank. I think this is my first time. I'm sorry. It was great. I've never attended any meetings like this. It was awesome. I liked it.
Good, wonderful. We're glad you came and we hope to see you again. Ray, busy schedule, so happy you're here. You're like Mr. D, came out of nowhere. It's awesome. I'm very proud and honored to be up here with you guys tonight and to serve you as your president for the next year. As long as there's always free liquor, I'll be here voting.
Stash in the closet for her.
Yes. For tonight's executive meeting. Don't tease me, anyway. So I appreciate that, thank you. Want to know, even if you're not on the board and you're a member or a guest, feel free to ask any questions. You don't know what you don't know, and we're here to answer those for you in any way that you feel comfortable. So thank you, and